Sawadee up and welcome to another Funkit Pod here from beautiful Bangkok. I was hesitating because I was thinking, should I still call it MMA Monday? Or should we just call it the MMA Hour? No. So welcome to another MMA edition here for the Funkit Pod. And as always, just in case you're a new listener, viewer, watcher, subscriber, appreciate it. So I'm not just reviewing fights, especially not the UFC fights or Bellator or whatever, because there are 1,000 channels out there that do that. The only fights that I review, the only events that I review are the one events, simply because I live here in Bangkok and I've been following one forever. I've been to almost all of the one events, at least here in Thailand. So I try to bring the fighters a bit closer to those of you who don't know them just yet. And I realized that it's still necessary because I was listening to Luke Thomas in the pre-show on Morning Combat, and they're always doing a great job. But Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell neither had much of a clue about many of the fighters, not even the high level fighters. Luke Thomas was saying things like, "I've been told that Superbon is really good." Like, yes, that is true, Luke Thomas. So that's what I'm going to do, and I then usually react to how the media is covering the sport of MMA, because I work in the media field. I teach those things in university, and B, give a few thoughts on maybe how fighters could use the media better, or which fighters do it well, and so on. So that's just usually my thing that I'm doing here, right? So let's just start with the one recap right away, because one championship events, they start to feel a little bit bigger, don't they? Like, I think one events are starting to feel bigger. At least they get more coverage now on channels such as Morning Combat, for example. Ariel Helwani mentions Ariel Helwani, I'm sorry, I just finished training. Ariel Helwani mentions it once in a while as well. He's got DJ on sometimes, which is great, of course. So let's talk about one and this past event. And if you watched, you realized one thing. At one championship, things are happening quite fast, right? We had two fighters drop because of weight problems / weight issues. Anissa Maxson, who was scheduled to fight in a mixed rules bout against Stam Fairtex, didn't make it, and she didn't miss weight as far as I'm concerned. She just didn't make the weigh-in window and the hydration window. She posted on her personal social media that it was a family issue. That's why she couldn't make it. And then the opponent for Supergirl, Anna Jaronczak, apparently missed weight. At least that's what I read on social media when I asked, why is she out? And so Supergirl without an opponent, Stam Fairtex without an opponent, let's match them together, like the day before or so. So this is very one, which is cool, right? Fighters fight, which is great. More on this in just a second. But let's just now break it just down from top to bottom. So main event, Superbon, Sing My Win, Superbon, who had this highlight reel knockout over Giorgio Petrosian to claim the title. He was facing the Grand Prix winner, Chinga Allazov. We need to work on a better nickname, Genghis here. And if you've seen or listened to my preview, I was completely wrong. Not completely wrong. I said Allazov is coming out, storming, lots of power, forward pressure, and that's exactly what he did. I just thought Superbon would be able to avoid it a bit better, would stick and move a bit more until Allazov maybe gets tired a bit more. And then I thought Superbon would pick it up. We never came close to that second round knockout. Clean shots, clean punches, well done. It seems like Superbon wasn't expecting the power of Allazov, or was just not used to couldn't dodge the punches, obviously, and just couldn't handle the power. So Allazov looked shredded, he looked crazy, and great great performance. I was about to say coming out performance, but I mean, we've known him because we watched him all through the Grand Prix. And it's funny because I think his record was 3-1 in one championship, meaning he lost his first fight apparently. Then he won 3 straight in the Grand Prix, and now he's a champion. So what a resurrection! But after one loss, it's not a bad thing. But you see what I'm saying, right? Lose one and then just like tear it all down, which is very, very impressive. So Cengiz Allazov is for real. Like, he is to quote Joe Rogan, or like paraphrase Joe Rogan, because he probably doesn't know Cengiz Allazov, but Cengiz Allazov is a problem, man. He's a problem. Hey, Joe Rogan, if you need some insights into one championship, always here to talk. So Cengiz Allazov is here to stay. He's a problem. Superbon should probably take some time off to recover now after that nasty knockout. They then shook hands afterwards. It's some backstage footage where Allazov was checking in if everything is all right. Nice. So congratulations. Can't wait to see him again. Like, this machine. Fantastic. Like, really, 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 really great. The one thing I just don't like in kickboxing is just the kickboxing rule set, especially the Thai, or the one kickboxing rule set, and more on this now as we move to the second fight. Because in the second fight we had a Superlek, the kicking machine, Kat Mugao, versus Daniel Puertas. And I told you earlier, in my preview that I think Superlek's just gonna outpoint Daniel Puertas. And yes, he did, apparently. But that was dicey. To quote another great MMA journalist, reporter, that was dicey for Superlek. So you definitely could have given it to Daniel Puertas. Demetrius Johnson on commentary thought Puertas did enough to get the victory. If it wasn't in Thailand, I would have thought Puertas would have gotten the victory too, to be honest. He did a smarter fight. I was a bit annoyed with a few things. Like, one, in kickboxing, there is no clinching, right? So in Muay Thai, you go forward and then eventually you just clinch up and drag each other around and try to land knees in transition and stuff like this. In kickboxing, there's no clinching. Okay. So Superlek tends to clinch, but then even when he didn't want to clinch, Puertas was just moving forward, kind of like making Superlek clinch. Like, come on, if you want to do something, just clinch me. And Superlek I don't want to, but okay. And then eventually Superlek got a yellow card for clinching, which was in the later rounds mostly initiated by Puertas, though. Puertas did initiate the clinch. So what I'm meaning is he moved just forward towards Superlek, and he's like, well, if you can't get out of the way, I know you're gonna clinch me up, so whatever, that doesn't count. And he was just forcing Superlek to basically clinch him up. Smart, bit annoying, but smart. What really is annoying though, and I agree with Caposa on social media there. If you're into martial arts, you probably follow Caposa. If not, follow at Grabaka Hitman, Grabaka_Hitman. Caposa, best social media account when it comes to MMA out there. And he said something along the lines like, I don't even remember how he phrased it, but it was something like this. It's weird at one championship, they don't show the scorecards, they don't say the scores, they just said, your winner, the red corner, your winner, the blue corner. Like, what? Can you at least say the scores or something? Like, what's and that's the biggest issue with one championship, like the scoring. Right, so they say unanimous decision, they say split decision, but they don't say the score. So they can just, sometimes it just feels a bit made up. So yeah, that's the one of a few stains on that one championship product, unfortunately. So for the fight itself, Puertas did a great job. Puertas was quite aggressive, like trying to move forward. Superlek, the kicking machine, was kicking loud, lots of leg kicks, and that's what we used to see from him. Leg kicks and kicks to the arm until the arm drops. This time the arm didn't drop, so great job, Puertas. Superlek did land, like especially around 4, I think, he was lighting Puertas up, like, and you thought, oh, that's close to like maybe a standing 8 count or something. That's gonna be, so that was close. But the other rounds were all close, and you could argue that Puertas won a few. Yellow card and also for Superlek. So it was a close fight. But congratulations, Superlek, and I mean, given that the main event didn't go the way it was supposed to go here in Thailand, Bangkok, right? With the Thai winning, it was good that at least in the co-main event, the Thai was winning, like, I guess. We had flyweight submission grappling, and here's where you can hate on me. We had Mikey Musumeci, who is super nice, apparently. He looks super nice, versus Gantumu Bayonduran. I'm not a grappling specialist. I just finished Muay Thai practice, so I'm all about just stand up, man. And it just doesn't do it for me. It was. I'm sorry. I'm a bit bored. Maybe I should. Maybe Luke Thomas needs to educate me on the grappling. I educate Luke Thomas on Muay Thai here in Thailand, and Luke Thomas talks me into grappling, because it was just like Musumeci holding on to that ankle lock forever. And Bayonduran just not tapping. It's like, yeah, you can bend my knee, I don't care. You can bend my leg and my ankle, I don't care, whatever. So it was a bit weird. I did like afterwards, so in the interview, Musumeci was speaking in Thai a little bit. I'm a bit disappointed the Thai audience didn't really react to it. So he says something like, I love Thailand, and that he's happy, and then something like he wants to eat some dum or something, which is the national Thai dish. Was it some dum or pad Thai or whatever? I think some dum, like it's papaya salad. That was fantastic. I was like, that won me over, Mikey Musumeci. You're the man. That won me over. The Thai audience didn't really react to it, which was a bit weird. Also, but more on the audience is also just a moment, because one championship in audiences, yeah. Okay, but then what else did we? Oh, and he also celebrated with Stamp Fairtex. They had the same locker room. Who's the female Thai superstar right now, right? Stamp, and he was just like hugging her when she came back from her fight that she won. And it's like, yeah, so cool. And it was just nice to see. So he seems to be a really cool person, that Mikey Musumeci guy. So that's cool to have him around. Maybe I just need to get more into the whole grappling kind of thing. We had the fight with the biggest noise, the biggest pop was, and it's always the case, like I've been to so many one events, and every time Ong La, the Burmese Python Sang fights, it's ridiculous. I don't know where they get all the Burmese people. I mean, there are lots of people from Burma, from Myanmar, working in Thailand, obviously. Historically speaking, not the best jobs usually, but they all seem just to come out to when Ong La Sang is fighting here, because I'm not kidding, it's in Thailand, but the Burmese fighter gets always the biggest reaction, the biggest pop. Like I don't know how many times I've seen him here. Probably every time when he's in Thailand, when he fights in Bangkok, I've seen it, when he fought in Bangkok. And he always gets the biggest pop, which is awesome. And he lives in the US, right? So it's not like he trains here a lot or whatever. He lives in the US, he trains with Henry Hooft at Killcliff. So he's not a resident here, but he gets the biggest reception of all the fighters every time he's here, which is awesome. He defeated Gilberto Gipa Galvao. Seriously, guys, we need to work on your nicknames, like Genghis Chinga, Allazov, Gilberto Gipa Galvao. TKO at 129 of round 1, so he just mauled him. That's exactly what I predicted. I said Ong La Sang, I pick him. He should have the edge, but it's going to be tough because Galvao is just such a big, muscly guy. Didn't matter. Ong La is like, I'm taking care of this. Awesome. I like to see vintage Ong La Sang. The last two fights, fantastic. Ong La, let's go, man. It's awesome. It's great to see Ong La Sang still doing that thing. I said it in the pre-show. He's one of the guys who got me into like one championship. Like in the beginning, like when they had like a fight, I think in Myanmar, in Yangon, before all the shit went down in Myanmar. It was fantastic. Like Ong La is he's the man. Like he's the one championship man for me. He's great. We had a catchweight kickboxing bout between the Phenom, then superstar, the Thai kickboxer or the Thai Muay Thai star number 1, Rottang Chitmungnon. Last minute replacement again. He had to fight the Eagle of Jitu Yipu, and it was a UD. It was a last minute opponent, so maybe that's why I wasn't that prepared for him. But he did his thing. He led in the last round. He was just walking forward and let Yipu hit him in the face a few times, and he just shook it off and just moved forward. So he did just Rottang things, of course. Rottang does was Rottang does. Yeah, we need to see him against better competition again, because this is, yeah. Then before we had Stamp, the aforementioned Stamp, whose opponent, Anissa Maxon, couldn't make it, against Anna Supergirl Jaronsak, whose opponent also didn't make it, so they got matched up. So Stamp prepared for a mixed rules, small gloves fight, obviously, and now it was a kickboxing, strawweight kickboxing fight, not even Muay Thai, a strawweight kickboxing fight, and with big gloves. So respect, like on one day's notice, switching the sport, basically. So that's fantastic. Like this is so props to both fighters for stepping up here. It was awesome. Supergirl put on a great showing. I think Supergirl obviously is the little sister to Wonder Girl, who's also one fighter. Not that's her name. She's a bit more famous because she's like a bit older, had a few more fights. And yeah, so Supergirl, the younger sister now, from the same gym, obviously, trained by the same dad. And she had like this close decision win over Vandraeva last time. So this would have been the rematch. But then Vandraeva didn't make it, couldn't make it, wasn't allowed to make it, I don't know. But so Supergirl stepped up big here, like in her biggest opponent as to date, and she was showing out. And there is lots of online criticism and saying that Supergirl probably won the first 2 rounds and Stamp only won the last round. And Supergirl was throwing more, and Stamp didn't seem to be like that well prepared. Maybe she didn't take her serious. She's like, oh, that young girl, I got this. I'm the best Thai boxer ever. I don't know. But great showing by Supergirl. I also think if she would have won, you could not complain. In the end, Stamp got the nod because she's Stamp, and she clearly won the 3rd round, and she did land power punches in between. It's not like she didn't land anything. You could just argue Supergirl landed more, was pressing more, but hey, it was both great. Props to both athletes for stepping up on short notice and taking a completely different fight for both of them. So that's fantastic. So real props to them. That's great. Stamp then got the $50,000 fight bonus. I think in this case, and it was not a knockout, right? So in this case, do this throwing money around all the time, like Chatri, the CEO of One, like give Supergirl the bonus too. Like, what are you doing? Like, seriously, that was a bit like, come on. It's a controversial win, so if you wanna, I don't know, give something to that fight, give it fight of the night, give it something, give both something. Don't just I don't know, give something to the fighter that won a controversial decision. Right? It was a split decision win, and then you give $50K to the split decision winner. It means like at least one judge saw it that the other one won. Like, it doesn't make much sense to me. So yeah, that's just weird. It just shows like it's Stamp always gets the $50K. So dude, be nice. Like, and it's Supergirl. It's not like it's some random fighter. It's Supergirl. Like, you want to have that gym around for longer, probably, where Supergirl and Wonder Girl come out from. So, didn't sit well with me. What else do we have? We had Gary Tonin back in action, and he... I'm glad he did, because he defeated Johnny Nunez. Isn't Johnny Nunez the husband? Boyfriend? Fiance? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyways, we talk about Johnny Nunez, not about his wife. So his nickname is Johnny Boy. So thank you, Gary Tonin, for defeating Johnny Boy. Submission Kimura, 153, round 1. Yeah, that was quick. So it's Gary Tonin. His post-fight speech, let's just not talk about that, because but inside the cage, great job there. First bout of the night was Shoko Sato versus the fighting god Kim Jae-woong, which was interesting, which was close. Some weird decisions also in there with like a yellow card again. I thought Kim Jae-woong did enough, but it was a UD for Shoko Sato. So it's not a robbery, definitely not. Like, I mean, like I said, I thought like in the end maybe Kim Jae-woong would have done enough, but it wasn't. So that's all right. Kim Jae-woong looked disappointed because he thought he did enough too, but you can give it to Shoko Sato. That is not a robbery. Then they had a few minutes of silence in between for Victoria Lee, who sadly passed away. We talked about this in the previous show. Also, props to the UFC for acknowledging this. They also paid tribute to Victoria Lee. Props to Dan Ige at the UFC fight that just ended like a few hours ago, who also dedicated it to Victoria Lee. He said all the best to the family. So props there. Dan Ige from Hawaii, where the Lees are located. So props there. But more on the UFC in just a second. That was one championship. Next one, overall, again, the events overall are great. I think the one events overall are great. They're fun. And they showed the line, the queue for the meet and greet with Mighty Mouse. And oh my God. All around the arena, people were queuing just to take a picture with Mighty Mouse. Fantastic. So you can see it's catching on her. So good job there, one championship. Next one is in, I think, 1.5 months or so. So we're going to talk about this once it's coming closer again, obviously. Okay, that's enough. One championship. Let me know what you thought about one championship. Now, also very quickly, we talk about the UFC. And again, now I'm not reviewing the fights. You've probably seen it. You read it. Dan Ige got the victory, like nice walk-off knockout. We got Sean Strickland with a vintage Sean Strickland performance. So also congrats there. Vintage Sean Strickland press conference as well. Also congrats there. So and this leads me to the media. Like Sean Strickland. Think about him what you want. He's grown on me. I like him by now. He uses the media to perfection. I said in the last podcast, he doesn't do a lot of media, but when he does it, it makes sense, right? So and actually, he does. By now, he does a lot of media, like on his own. He posts lots of stuff on his own. He does interviews with the Schmo, with Helen, which are hilarious, and he always asks Helen like about what Asian she is, and she tells him every single time, and then he just makes fun of it. And I think you can do that. Like, is it racist? If you want it to be, then maybe it is. But if you're joking around with your friends and they seem to be friends by now, right? So then maybe it's just busting balls, and I think that's okay. It's just the same thing that he does with Chris Curtis, right? So I do this with my friends here in Bangkok too. They make German jokes with me that you could call insensitive if you want to. I make jokes with them about their cultural heritage that you might call insensitive, but it's what you do with friends. So I think Sean Strickland just being who he is and having fun with it is just cool, and it's nice to see. It's refreshing. It's different. Good job, Sean Strickland. What else? Oh yeah, sure. So then T-Mobile announced Jones versus Gane before the UFC could do it. If this would be Ariel Helwani, they would be banned for life, but because you need the arena, you can't ban them. So hey, lucky T-Mobile. So they leaked it too soon. But yeah, Jones versus Gane, nice distraction from the New Year's Eve incident with Dana White, and that there are still no repercussions. Now more outlets talking about it. Like even Stephen A. Smith changed his stance a little bit. I wonder why, Stephen A. After people hating on you? Really? Oh. We're changing our opinion all the time, which is nice. It's fantastic. So now a few more outlets are reporting on it. ESPN people talking about it in a different way. Criticizing a little bit, not too much yet, but yeah, it's still nothing's going to happen. We know that. So here, just a reminder: don't forget, Dana White slapped his wife on New Year's Eve twice at least. Yes, she slept first. Doesn't really matter to me. I think he slept, and nothing happened afterwards. Nothing happened afterwards. So we always remember that. Okay, but now we have to fight Jon Jones versus Cyril Gane, which means Francis Ngannou is released. There's no matching clause, no nothing, so he can do whatever he wants right away. What do I think about it? Not that anyone cares, but what do I think? I think terrible use of the media from both sides. Now Dana White tries to portray Francis Ngannou as someone who's scared to fight the best of the best. Please. Francis Ngannou, I haven't heard anything from his side yet. They're gonna come out probably then on Ariel Helwani next week, I assume. Then talking about their side of the story. Ariel's gonna hate on Dana because, like, even if it's the highest paid heavyweight in the world or in history, that doesn't mean much. Blah blah blah. I think look at where you're coming from. And I don't want to sound like a UFC shill or something, right? And I'm certainly not. And yeah, I'm all for get all the money in the world. But if this, he is a millionaire. He would have been a multi-millionaire after this. If you fight Jon Jones, it sells all the pay-per-views in the world. Probably the most sold pay-per-view ever I guess, now. Jones, heavyweight. Ngannou, you kidding me? More than Lesnar, probably. So, more McGregor-ish, probably. So, shitload of money there. You're set for life. Do you really want to then now just not do anything and hope for a big boxing fight? And is there still interest to see him fight Tyson Fury? I don't know, like for me, maybe it's me as the purist, like I'm not a big boxing fan per se. So I would assume Tyson Fury just kills Francis Ngannou within like a few rounds. If it's just boxing. So not really high on. I would have loved to see Ngannou, like, because I really liked his last fight against Gane. Like when he went for the takedowns, like, oh my god, wow, he's still improving. It would have been cool to see like how far he can take it. He went from like the guy with all the power to the guy that's smart, which is great. So I would have loved to see it. But hey, I'm not here to talk about like fights in the UFC, as I said earlier. So from a media point of view, now the UFC tries to frame Ngannou in this one light, which hardcore fans probably don't believe in. And so I'm sure within the next week, probably on a Helwani show, we will get some clapback from the Ngannou camp, I'm sure. Probably Francis on the programming himself, I would assume. Let me know what you think about the whole Jones, Ngannou, Gane thing. What do you think about still the Dana White story? Can we move on? Should we move on now, like 2 weeks later? Or are we trying to put the finger in the wound until something happens? Let me know your thoughts, as always, at funkitpod on social media, funkitpod@gmail.com if you want to write a love letter via email. Like, share, subscribe, that would be appreciated. Rate this thing, this would also be appreciated, because it leads to a bigger audience, and then we can have bigger discussions about all those things. That would be cool. Until then, as always, stay safe, take care, keep your guard up. We'll talk soon. Saudi Cup.